is a presentation of the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the Oklahoma Sports Network's consent is prohibited. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be used without express written consent.
Welcome to the Elgin Coaches Show. I'm your host, Vincent Saylor. Along with me tonight on producer is Chris Balvance. We've got a great show for you tonight, as we've got Coach Chalmer Wyatt here, along with two players, Big T and Jake Deal. We're also going to catch up with Elgin softball coach Levi Garrett to discuss the upcoming regionals, which will be held. First game for Elgin will be held tomorrow at 2 o'clock, and we will have all of that action for you live on the Oklahoma Sports Network. So if you're not able to get out to the softball complex, tune in to the Oklahoma Sports Network, where we'll bring you all the live action. Elgin will play the winner of Midwest City and Lawton High. That game is tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Give or take. I mean, there's a game before that, so it'll be may change the start time a little, but it's set to start for 2 o'clock. But like I said, we've got a great show for you tonight. The Owls took care of business on the road at Elk City for their homecoming last Thursday night, 54-7, with a great showing by the offense, defense, and special teams. Got a big field goal from Ian Krenz in that game as well. So we'll be recapping that game. We'll also talk about the pink out that's coming up this week against Bridge Creek. Looking forward to that one, as we're obviously back home in the nest. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll recap some of what happened in the Elk City game. You're watching the Elgin Owl Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Download our free apps on Apple and Android devices. Plus, find us on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. Search Oklahoma Sports Network and watch from anywhere.
Here at Burrito Miko, as we are every Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. I want to thank Miguel and everybody here related to Burrito Miko for allowing us to host the Coaches Show here in Elgin, America. So, again, thank you so much to Burrito Miko for being our host. So, yeah, like I said, great big victory by the Elgin Owls over the Elk City Elks, 54-7. Had a great game, like I said, on all sides of the ball. Really took care of business. A little slow start there in the first quarter, but picked things up in the second quarter and then ran things away towards the end of the game there. Caden Boletto still 5-0 as a starter for your Elgin Owls. The win streak is now up to 19, 5-0 on the season, 2-0 in district with those full 30 points with those two victories as far as playoff seeding goes. He said Caden had a big game, 9 for 13 again, completing a ton of his passes for 202 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ritson Meyer with 113 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, and that 70-yard touchdown reception. Over 200 yards, just about 200 yards of total offense for Ritson last week. Another 4 touchdowns. That gives him 18 on the season. Braxton also added a touchdown on the first drive of the game with 25 yards rushing. Brody had a big game as well, receiving 6 catches for 100 yards. Brody also had an interception on the defensive side of the ball. A lot of great stats from the game, and like I said, just an overall hard-fought victory, 54-7. Ian Crins also added a long field goal, which was good to see. Like I said, one thing we've been working on since Coach Chalmer Wyatt's been here is kind of finding that kicker, and looks like we've got a good one now. Put a couple balls through the end zone for touchbacks, and then, like I said, also made a long field goal, which could help us on the road down as we lead to that playoff push. Offensive player of the game, per the coaches, was Ritson Meyer. Defensive player of the game was Hudson Begley. Special teams player of the game was the aforementioned Ian Crins. The Sharpen Your Axe player was Philip Pibiasi. And your Rough Rider of the week, second time in a couple weeks here, Cameron Hollifer. Good to see that obviously the players played up to that standard that Coach Wyatt talked about last week, not naming any players of the week after that big victory over Woodward, but obviously Coach Wyatt liked what he saw last week and liked the way that they prepared throughout the week and all that kind of stuff. So good to see players of the game as well. Got a great show for you ahead. We're going to be right back after this break to talk to Coach Chalmer Wyatt. You're watching the Elgin Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Celebrating 10 years. We are the Oklahoma Sports Network.
And we're back here at Burrito Miko for the Elgin Owls Coaches Show. Again, like I said, thank you, Burrito Miko, for allowing us the opportunity to host this show here. Coach Wyatt, another big victory, obviously 5-0 on the season. Took care of business on a Thursday night, short week. Went up to Elk City and took care of business 54-7. Before we kind of get into players of the game and some of the stats and things like that, just kind of your overall impressions of the game and how things went.
Well, you always kind of stress when you go into a short week, and I thought our preparation was good, and we showed that Thursday night. I was really proud, just execution all across the board, 3 phases, and going on a road, a long road trip like that, you never know, and to just be as sharp as we were Thursday night was good to see.
Is it always a little bit added motivation when a team kind of schedules you for homecoming? I mean, I know sometimes it's out of the coaches or it's an admin type thing, but is that always a little bit of extra motivation, kind of seeing that homecoming court and things like that? Hey, did they schedule us for homecoming, really?
I mean, all we have to say is, hey, by the way, we're homecoming. It doesn't do anything different for me, but
right.
Just how
14,
they
18-year-old kids.
Yeah, it works for them, so why not?
Yeah. So talk a little bit, like I said, one of the big things obviously coming from the game, and offense and defense did a great job, but Ian Crins got a bunch of touchbacks. It was named the Special Teams Player of the Week. Got several touchbacks, kicked off the ball really well after missing last week, and then obviously came back with the huge field goal, one of the first field goals kind of since you've been around to a certain degree. So talk a little bit about how using him and how seeing him make that field goal kind of from a decent distance as well kind of will potentially maybe change some of the play calling and some of the things, the way you think of going into games when you get into that red zone and some of those areas as we move forward in the season.
Yeah, he's a weapon. And obviously we've been sloppy on extra point in early weeks, and we had a really good week of practice kind of firming that up, and so I felt confident in running him out there. Obviously he's got a leg. I mean, he's got, I don't know how far back we would go. I feel comfortable going back, but 39 that's a pretty good start for him. And, great execution there. We can use him in that regard. So, yeah, we have some options if we get to that point. And then the kickoffs are just huge when, I felt like there for a while in the game in the third quarter, the field was, slanted like this. We kept them back in their own end, and a lot of that was due to their starting field position. Just being able to start off with touchbacks, bringing the defense on the field on the 20-yard line's big. And so, he's been just a blessing as long as you can tolerate him at practice. And you got to know him.
A little squirrely.
Yeah. No, he's fun to be around. He's always got something to say. But yeah, he's doing a great job for us, and I think that as he goes into it, since it's still so new to him, I think he'll get better and get a little bit more distance, and and he's been really accurate with his field goals in practice and such. So that's a good thing for us to know going into games when opportunities come.
Caden finished the game 9 for 13 for 202 yards and 2 touchdowns. That gives him 10 touchdowns on the year. Only the one interception, I believe, and then the 1 rushing touchdown. So counted for 11 touchdowns. I guess that's the way he's played, as far as Elk City, but also throughout the season. I mean, one cool thing that I was kind of looking at some stats and whatnot, 9 different players have caught touchdowns from him in his 10 touchdowns. I mean, so talk about how he's spreading the ball around and playing so far in these first 5 games.
Yeah, he has really stepped up to the plate. I think guys around him are doing a good job too. And obviously we've got 9 guys in the end zone passing touchdowns, and that's 9 different targets, 9 different guys that can score the football. So that makes us better, being able to, disperse the ball out accordingly. And he's done a good job staying in the pocket and understanding what we want, going into a game plan and going to executing it. And he stayed in there Thursday night, took a couple of hits on some throws, and got up and ran the offense. So it's just fun to see him grow, and it's fun to coach him because there's always something that he can get better at, and that's a great thing for as good as he's playing right now. He's still got some room to improve, and he knows it, and guys let him know about it. But taking the reins and improving each week. Maybe just one ball Thursday night that I thought he forced, and something he'll just grasp and get better at moving forward.
Not only 9 different people have scored receiving touchdowns, but 16 total Owls have scored touchdowns on the year, which is a phenomenal stat. I mean, that just goes to show kind of the playmakers that we have and the ability that we have on the outside. Let's talk a little bit about players of the game. Well, first, before we get into that, we talked a little bit offense. Let's talk a little defense. Obviously, 54-7. I mean, that last touchdown was, kind of like I said. I know Coach Baker doesn't like that. Likes to see those young kids compete and play. But at the end of the day, 7 points to a pretty good football team. Yep. Obviously, what can you say about the way the defense played? Obviously, Hudson Begley was the defensive player of the game, but looks like Tucker New had a pretty good game there as well. Brody had the interception. Talk a little bit about the defense, what you saw from those guys.
Yeah, going into Elk City, it's power run. It's a downhill run game, and we really challenged our defensive line all week to go out and perform and execute. And we were bingoing and moving to different things a lot, so we had to be sharp there, just knowing what we're doing. And then when you're in there, getting extension, playing down the hill line. We had 5-6 defensive linemen I thought played pretty well, and that's how you control the ground game. Braxton and Phillip did a great job setting the edges when they wanted to get the ball on the edge. Tucker and Hudson, those guys were both guys that we kind of came down to on defensive player of the game. They both played outstanding. And Big T keeps getting better in the middle.
Yeah.
Talon's doing a good job. He's really trimmed down from this summer. He's looking good. He's moving well. He's making plays down the line of scrimmage. He had a fumble recovery. And then our linebackers, with what we had game plan-wise, we had a 3-3 stack going, so it kind of freed those guys up to run free a little bit with our defensive line being so just kind of wrecking some havoc up front. And that's what you got to do to stop the run. And we had, 4 or 5 guys that stepped up and played well defensively. And then in the back end, we were solid. Didn't get a lot of, attempts back there with what we did and what they do. So just overall, really good night defensively. Like I said, I felt like Elk City stayed on that end of the field, there for a big portion of the game, and just a good job rallying. I thought a lot of times the ball was outside the hash, and we had, probably 8 guys outside the hash, finishing plays, and that's just a good pursuit and doing what we preach.
Talk a little bit. We talked about Caden there for a little bit, and obviously Ritson and Braxton we always talk about, and we'll get to Ritson in a little bit with players of the game. But talk a little bit about the way the offensive line has played in these first 5 games. I mean, obviously they did a great job. We named him our player of the game against Elk City. But talk about the way those 5 have really come together and really started to play some good football.
They are coming together, and offensive line is hard. You got to have 5 guys do the right thing and go the right way, and you've got to have, with our season, it's 5 guys that are maybe playing new positions or playing with new guys, and so you're building that cohesion each week, and they're doing a good job. They're kind of molding themselves in the unit they want to be, and kind of now as they get going, we've got some freedom and some calls we can make up front that, they feel comfortable with making on their own schematically. And it's just practicing and just building that, trust is a big deal.
Yeah.
And I thought that they played really well. And that's a unit that if they keep doing that, they should keep improving. And, proud of them. I think they graded really well. I think Cameron's
rough wire. Yeah.
Had a really high grade, but, a lot of them were well above average, which is good, and what we have to have offensively for what we do.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about season stats too. I mean, we've got as far as total offense goes, we've got 2,322 total yards as an offense, and we're averaging 49 points a game, 245 points, 49 points a game. I mean, what can you, like I said, I mean, obviously with that high-powered offense, and I mean, we talked about 15, 16 different people scoring touchdowns. Talk about how easy it is for a play caller when you have that many athletes on the outside to get the balls to.
Well, I think we do a good job of being able to run it and throw it, and it's hard to decide what do you want to take away defensively, because I think that we're doing a good job of answering that when that's challenge is presented. And then, we're executing on the outside, when the box is packed, or, we get a formation we like and we execute it. And it's really fun, kind of how we built this offense, where we kind of have answers and formations, and we don't handcuff ourselves on anything, what we do. And Adam does a good job of seeing it and kind of knowing and going into a game plan with, if they do this, then we've got X, Y, and Z options to go to.
Right.
And spreading it out, and we even showed some oversets up front and doing some things that kind of some tempo calls. And it's just,
the tackle. I saw Hudson kind of move the tackle over and things like that.
Over a little bit, and honestly, it's a lot of fun right now, and I think the kids are having fun in it. We just got to keep executing, taking care of the football, and we got to cut down on penalties if I got to rain on the parade. But that's a big deal, but it's fun. We're very multiple and can spread the ball out, and we try to be hard to defend, and we're doing a good job of that right now.
Well, now, on the flip side of that, I mean, defense has only given up 827 total yards, only allowing 165 a game, and just a shade over 10 points a game too. So talk about, like I said, how they're starting to come together. Like I said, have a ton of new starters on that side of the ball, but those guys are all starting to kind of learn their roles and all starting to come together. And talk about how, like I said, I mean, it's not the one splashy guy like Colin and all that kind of last year. It's kind of a committee, but at the end of the day, I mean, they're putting up the same type of numbers that last year's defense did, and talk about how their improvement is moving forward this year.
Yeah, likewise to the offensive line. In the secondary, we've got guys in new spots, and that's the same thing in the secondary. You got to build that, kind of build your unit, and build your trust, and trust what the calls that we're making, and know and communicate with what we got. And it's with the front, it's just a matter of being in the right gap and being starving to get to the football.
Yeah.
Kind of like I am to get back to my Burrito Mikos here.
Shout out, Miguel.
Yeah. And that's just kind of what it takes. I think it fits our philosophy no matter who we have out there. We want to pursue the football and get down the hill line and, get a lot of hats on it and be great tacklers in open space. And it's just building our unit. And I think one good thing we have going on is just the depth on the D-line with, guys that we're rotating. Yeah. And that just makes us better, fresher in regards to offense and everything. And Cason's doing a good job of stepping in and calling that thing. And, we've got to get better. There's a lot of things we can get better at as far as, just getting a strength call and sticking to it. We talk about that all the time. And if we can do that, we can get into whatever front we want and execute and whatever we want to play behind it. But, yeah, it's a unit that's growing. It's a unit that's getting better. And we've made a lot of strides since non-district. And we look to continue that. And I'm excited for Friday defensively with kind of a unique game plan and go execute it.
So we got two different Owls scored their first touchdowns of the year. Corday and Gator got in the end zone as well. Talk a little bit about those two guys, and then Jake Croft. Like I said, the pitch was a pitch. So at the end of the day, it's a pass. It counts as a touchdown on the road. He gets his first touchdown pass as an Owl. Talk about the three of those guys. Like I said, kind of some of those young guys, but getting in there and really executing when they have the opportunity.
Yep. I mean, that's why Corday will frustrate you at times because that's what he can do with the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
I mean, he takes a jet pass, sweep, and he just cuts back on a dime, and there's nobody left for 30 yards. And he's a weapon. And he needs to realize that he can help us out and do those things for us. And Gator, I think I saw that his mom decided not to go to the game Thursday, and then he scored. So Jenna, sorry about that, I guess.
Hopefully you were watching live on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Yeah, I think she was. But good for Gator. Gator he's been a selfless person, selfless player for 4 years, and he fills a big role on our team on both sides of the ball. And, he's a guy that we trust that when we need to go get some yards in situations like that, he can, get north and south and pick up hard yards to move the chains. And you got to have a guy like Gator on your team.
And then talk a little bit about Jake. Like I said,
Yeah,
obviously first touchdown of his career. Sophomore didn't get to play a ton last year as a freshman, but obviously stepping up, made huge improvements, at least from my eyes at practice, from his freshman year to his sophomore year.
Yeah, he's understanding the offense well. That's the first thing you kind of got to do. And now it's kind of getting the gamesmanship and getting, all the quarterback intangibles that you have to have. And he's getting better at that every day. He battled in our JV game Monday against MacArthur, and it was a tough night. But I noticed him on the sideline. When we punted away, he's kind of cheering the defense. Hey, let's go! He's in the game. That's some leadership that I like to see and notice. And getting in there this year, hopefully he gets some more minutes like that to get under control and run the offense. And he's got one of the most improved skill sets from year to year that anybody's probably had. So we're excited for him, and when he gets in there to go kind of show it off and show everybody where he's at now.
Before we talk individual players of the game, like I said, last week on the show we talked a little bit about not naming players of the game because they didn't live up to the standard throughout the week and during the game and things like that. So talk a little bit about, obviously you must have saw some improvement there and played up to that standard, so talk a little bit about that if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's just what it is. Like if things aren't getting done in the school building or at the practice field, there's things we have consequences for everything. And, it's about doing things right, and that's what we preach. And when it's not met, we got to take things away. And, my big deal about it is I have these guys for 4 years, and when they leave, they're going to go off to college or a family, and they're not doing things right. They're not going to, support their family or make it through college. And that's the biggest deal. I think we have a big influence on them. They're, maybe have a teacher for a year, but they've got their coaches for, multiple years, and we have the ability to make sure that they're on the right path when they leave our program, and that's important, and they're learning that, and they're growing up, and that's the great thing about our job is just, steering them the right way and making sure they're doing everything right on and off the field.
Mine had such an influence on me, I married his daughter.
There you go. That's one way.
But yeah, so offensive player of the game, Ritson Meyer, 4 touchdowns. Like I said, ho-hum game, almost 200 total yards, 4 touchdowns, 18 on the season. Yeah. I know we talk about him ad nauseum in a lot of these shows, but again, named offensive player of the game. Yeah,
Ritson had a night where he kind of looked for some bigger runs early, and they weren't there. Got bottled up a little bit, and right then he just learned right off the bat, like, hey, I've got to hit this hole, and then he's gaining yards by the chunk, and had the big wheel route reception where he just made a phenomenal play running through that guy and showing off some speed. Getting into the end zone from there was big. Anytime we're within the 10-yard line, he's just got a nose for it, and he always has, and that's why he's got a ton of touchdowns and great game and did a lot of good things for us, and just continues on his path, which is what we need.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's well over 80 now. I'll have to get with David exactly, but I know when he broke the record, it was like 72, and that was week 1. So I mean, we're now 14 more over that. So, well, and his best play of the game probably was the block.
Yes, that's big.
Yeah, defensive player of the game, Hudson Begley.
Yeah, like I said, man, it's tough for Hudson. He's playing both sides of the ball. Defensive player of the game, playing 4 technique. He made some incredible plays, getting off blocks, getting down the hill line on toss, controlling his gap. I believe he had 9 or 10 tackles, a few TFLs, and that's hard to do at the defensive line position. And we talk about Hudson, like that's what he needs to do for us on both sides of the ball, and that's kind of the role that we need. Always got to have that guy, and he definitely is game for it every week, and it was good to showcase that and get that production out of him.
Special teams we kind of touched on with Ian Krenz. Sharpen your axe, Philip.
Yep.
Pibiasi.
Yes, Pibiasi. Block punt.
Yeah.
Block punt.
Safety.
Overcame some injuries from last week.
Yeah.
That's part of the Sharpen Your Axe award. It can be multiple meanings, preparing. Maybe you got a big role, big assignment, did a great job there, block punt, played well on the edge, and that's what we needed to stop that. He set an edge, against the fullback and against the puller, and strung it out and stuffed it in there and let guys get to the make the tackle. So it's selfless effort and all-around effort, and affect the game on special teams. And he's coming into his own. He's one of those seniors you got to have. So proud of him to get that, and he's got to keep doing it too.
And then Rough Rider was Cam Holloway.
Yep. Cam, I believe, graded 88 or 89.
Wow. Okay.
It's hard on the edge, for what we do, some outside zones, some stuff where you got to be really good and you're getting out and being physical. And he's showing off, his skill set, big, physical, kind of agile. And when he gets his hands on you, he can get movement in space. And, I think that's the second time he's won Rough Rider.
Yep.
And that's, it's great. And we look forward to him to keep it rolling.
So that kind of puts a bow on the Elk City game, obviously winning 54-7, obviously 2-0 in district, 5-0 on the season, and gets us that full 30 points. We'll come back after this break and talk a little bit about Bridge Creek and the Pink Out Night there at the Nest at 7 o'clock on Friday. You're watching the Elgin Iowa Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network. And we're back here at Burrito Miko, as we are every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Coach, heading to Bridge Creek, obviously back at home, had a good weekend. How did y'all schedule that? I mean, obviously had a Thursday night game, so you had obviously everybody back at school on Friday, but had that extra kind of day of rest. I mean, talk a little bit about kind of how leading into this week, how you used that extra day.
I mean, preparing for a Thursday night's not fun, but
no.
When you get back to Friday at school, you got that extra day ready. So,
right.
We were able to come in and watch the film on both sides of the ball, and cut our kids loose at the Bell, give them a long weekend. We didn't bring them in on Sunday.
Okay.
I thought maybe some extra rest would be needed, and so our coaches had Friday to kind of jumpstart on Bridge Creeks, which was good. And we met Sunday like our normal game plan, and it was just good to have that extra day. It was just sometimes during this season it gets kind of grueling and stuff. So when you get that off day, you kind of cherish it, and it kind of refreshes you. So back at it this week for Bridge Creek, back at home, and we're fired up.
Talk a little bit about Bridge Creek and what they look like. I think they're 1-4 on the season, 1-1 I believe in district. Talk a little bit about what they their strengths and what you see maybe an issue or what we're working towards with those guys.
I think that they're improved. They started
real
off,
young last year if I remember right. Yeah.
Yeah, young in a lot of spots. They played Duncan to a 1-point game.
Yeah.
Last week them and Clinton's a 1-score game at one point, and so. Their record doesn't really show who they are, and so we've got to prepare for them. And if you remember last year, they had a lot of success running the ball at times. So they have a scheme that can be problematic if we're not doing the right things. They've got a big senior quarterback that runs their RPO offense pretty well, and they marry it with some gap scheme run, which can be tough. So, it's assignment football with the jet power read and the power read they run. So it'll be a big test to be disciplined with us and what we need to do. and lots of RPO games. So we've got to be kind of disciplined if run-pass reads and get into our assignments and being solid in the back end, because if you fall asleep, they're going to sucker you up, and then they want to try to get you over the top. So lots of challenges that they present to us on their offense, and we've got to be sound and disciplined. Defensively, it's a lot like they showed last year, which is what I think we'll get. 4-4 cover 3, which we've seen a ton of.
Yeah, it's been 4 or 5 weeks in a row.
Yeah. So now it's kind of like, well, is it a shade too high?
Right.
But so with that, we've got a lot of practice against it. Then we demand great execution against it, and so that's what we look to do. Got some wrinkles, just some things that we're adding on that we look to execute with what we do offensively. Obviously we're going to keep spreading the ball out and taking what the defense gives us. One thing that they've shown for people, I guess they can check out, is they run a really weird kickoff where it's nearly an onside kick or a squib almost every time. So
interesting.
We've got to be solid about getting the ball back and getting our offense on the field in that regard. So
is it like a low line drive type deal?
It could be a line drive. It could be a chip shot. It could be just a straight squib, maybe trying to knock somebody out with it and get a ricochet.
Yeah.
But we've got to be prepared for it. And so I believe they recovered 2 last week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yeah, definitely got to practice that throughout the week and be ready for it.
One player we didn't talk about it during the Elk City game, and had 6 catches for 100 yards. I mean, was Brody, and then also had the interception. Yeah. Just talk about, like I said, I mean, we've talked about him previously on Coach's Show, but I mean, talk about like how selfless he is, and becoming that senior leader.
Yeah, he is, man. He's got a good feel for things. He's got a good feel for things at practice when things aren't going good, and that's a testament to him listening and paying attention and seeing how things are going. Not just worried about him. He's worried about the whole team.
Yeah.
He doesn't care if he scores a touchdown. He doesn't care. He just wants to win. And man, it's just a breath of fresh air when you know that you got a kid like that, and it doesn't matter, And obviously he's talented, and he's going to get the football and do all those things. And usually you don't get that, If you got a guy that can do all those things, he's begging for it.
Yeah.
And he's not. He's just a guy that's team first, and two-way starter. Captain for us that is doing things the right way, and is a guy that is just a great leader for young guys to look up to, and I'm just proud of him, and it's been really fun to watch him for all 4 years, and really watch him go into his senior year and flourish and go compete and do all those things.
And last but not least, before we get you out of here, talk a little bit about, like I said, complacency not stepping in. I mean, obviously these first 2 weeks, took care of business pretty easily on both games. I mean, so, like I said, kind of talk about how the coaching staff kind of continues to push the team to get better and get better at the little things. And like I said, sometimes you can run away with those games, but at the end of the day, you really didn't play that well. Elk City we did. Woodward, at the end of the day, there were some things that we really needed to clean up. But talk about how not allowing that complacency to set in and kind of continuing to strive for that standard and not worry about the opponent, but worry about what you're doing individually as a team.
Yeah, I think it just goes back to how you practice. When we're an individual, I don't know how to say this without it coming out the wrong way. Like, we're not practicing to beat Bridge Creek. We're practicing to beat everybody on our schedule.
Yeah.
So at the same time, yes, Bridge Creek presents this challenge. We have, with this game plan, we need to go execute that game plan. And we need to be great at it, because that game plan could help us down the road. You know what I'm saying? We're 2-0 in district. We're not even close to locking a playoff spot.
Right.
You know what I mean? And our kids are smart, and they can see down the road. But at the same time, they're smart, and they know that nothing has been accomplished yet. We haven't accomplished anything, and so we've got to stay hungry. And our coaches do a good job of staying on our guys about just being great today. And I tell them all the time, you either get better or worse every day. There's no other way to put it. And so that's where we're at. And obviously it's good to be in this position, but it's at the same time challenging at times to keep them there. But again, they're smart and they're coachable and they're listening, and they've gotten a lot better from last week to this week, and that's a big deal. And it's a big deal that we executed our game plan really well last Thursday, and I look to, if that trend continues, we're doing the right things.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, Coach, on another big victory. Obviously 5-0 on the season, 19 straight wins in a row, shooting for 20 this week, and looking forward to the big game against Bridge Creek on Friday. So after this, we'll be back with Jake Deal and Big T. You're watching the Elgin Owl Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network. Welcome back to Burrito Miko, as we're here every Tuesday night for the Elgin Owls Coaches Show. Got Jake Deal, junior, right? Junior,
yep.
And Big T over there, senior. Jake, we'll start with you. We got a couple sets of brothers on the team, but obviously you and your brother are twins. Talk a little bit about how it is. Like I said, I know after the state championship last year, you sought him out. And I know a lot of times during the games when things happen, you guys seek each other out and things like that. Talk about what it's like to play not only with your brother, but your twin brother.
It's just really cool being able to have like that connection on the team. Like, he's my brother and all. And it's cool just to have family on the team like that.
Yeah. Okay, so talk a little bit. Obviously, we see you on Friday nights, Thursday nights sometimes, kind of multitasking at halftime. You're also part of the band. So talk a little bit about how that conversation went with Coach Wyatt the first time that came up and things like that.
Everyone was pretty relaxed about it. We've had people do it in the past, like Toby Parker and my older brother when he played. But it's really cool that Coach Wyatt's really relaxed with it, and Mr. Palmer, who's the band director, he's really relaxed with it too.
So talk a little bit about kind of time management. Like, how does that work with practice and some of that type of stuff?
For me, it's I gotta feed into both. I gotta do this and I gotta do that too. I just do everything I can.
There you go. Talk a little bit. Obviously, you playing some of that middle linebacker spot in the inside there, and then also tight end. Talk a little bit about. So I ask this kind of to everybody that plays both ways. Are you a sack interception guy or a touchdown guy?
I'm more of a sack guy.
Okay, there we go. Big T coming over there to you now. Obviously, coming into your senior year, glad to be back playing football, and talk a little bit about kind of that defensive line and how you guys are playing so far this year. Oh, wait. All right, there you go. I didn't have your mic on, T.
Yeah, it's great. Obviously, our Braden Jones is hurt, so that's bad, but it's good having me, Hudson, our two edges, Tucker and what's it?
Hudson.
Caleb
Matasola. Yeah.
Caleb Matasola. Yeah, that's good.
So talk a little bit. Obviously, had the fumble recovery that time. Obviously, you don't get the ball that much. Were you trying to scoop and score it, or were you just trying to fall on it?
Oh, my first instinct was just fall on it. Yeah. That's what I was taught during all in elementary and middle school.
Yeah. Next time, pick up and score there. Talk about kind of anchoring that defensive line. Talk about kind of what your role is. Like I said, obviously as the middle guy, Jace kind of manned that spot for a couple years before this. Like I said, kind of an unsung spot, but your goal is to kind of hold up those guys and let guys like Jake and Kayla and Kaysen and Ritson run free and make those tackles. Talk a little bit about kind of what your role is on the defense.
Yeah, it's just anchoring down the middle, stopping the inside run, getting pressure when I can on the quarterback, just like, a lot of role playing and making the big play when I have a chance to.
There you go. Jake, we asked this to everybody, so, I kind of prefaced it before the show a little, so you had some time to think about it this time. Some of your other teammates haven't had time to think about it. So let's think, what is your favorite subject in school?
For me, it's probably computer class with Coach Park.
Coach Park as a teacher. Tell me how that is in class.
So we do a little bit of typing, watch a little bit of film, then mess around a little bit.
A little bit of film in class?
Yeah, we watch some film in class.
There we go. Big T, same question for you. Favorite subject in school?
Probably weightlifting.
Weightlifting, okay. T, obviously you're a senior and things like that. Any plans for next year? Kind of what's your plans for next year?
I love to play football at the next level. If I get the opportunity, that'd be probably ideal for me.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks a ton for joining us. Congratulations on the 5-0 start. Looking forward to hopefully 6-0 this week and continuing that win streak up to 20. So, like I said, congratulations to you guys, and look forward to seeing you on Friday. You're watching the Elgin Owl Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network. And we're back here at the Burrito Miko with the Elgin Owl Coaches Show. Got a special edition for you this week, joined by softball coach Levi Garrett. Those guys are set to take on the winner of Midwest City Lawton tomorrow at 2-ish. Depends on obviously what time that first game ends. Obviously playoff softball is here. Postseason softball, winner go home type situation. We will have, just to let you know, we will have all of Elgin's games during the regional for you live on the Oklahoma Sports Network. So if you're stuck at work or anything like that, get that phone out and check out our app, and you can watch the Elgin Owl softball team. So, Coach Garrett, obviously let's recap. Some of our viewers obviously don't know much about softball and how you guys have done. Let's kind of recap the season a little, talk a little bit about how you guys got to this point in the season, and then we'll kind of catch up on the tournament.
Yeah, we ended up finished second in our district. Duncan won our district.
Okay.
That was our only 2 losses in district play. They're both tightly contested games. In fact, our home game with them, we got beaten extra innings. We 1-1 through 7, and top half of the 8th inning, we kind of let it slip away.
Yeah.
But played really well, took care of business. We've played a really difficult schedule outside of district play. I think we have played 7 games, I believe, against 6A opponents.
Okay.
We've had to face Edmond Memorial twice, who has their pitchers committed to OU.
Okay.
So we've seen her twice.
Okay.
And a whole slew of other arms. Lone Grove, I think they're 33-3 on the season. We faced them and lost a tough one to them. But anyways, we're fired up. We had a great season. We ended up finishing 23 and 12.
Okay.
And but like I said, those 12 losses.
Those are the ones you remember, huh?
I mean, I wanted to test the guys, and they, that's how we get better.
Gotcha. Talk a little bit about your dual role. Obviously, in Oklahoma, softball's a fall sport. But talk about, obviously, you're the head coach for the baseball team as well. Took those guys to always a state title last year. Talk a little bit about kind of the differences between the two and how that comes into coaching and things like that. Because it looks like you kind of got the same staff for both as well, as far as he goes. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's very similar. I always joke and kid about how the girls are a lot tougher than the boys.
As a girl dad.
Yeah. No, they're very similar. I'm very blessed here. Got a lot of kids and families that are very supportive, very competitive. They want to do what it takes to win, and they want to win big. So got a lot of support because I could be pretty tough.
Right.
High expectations. I don't do anything for fun. I'm out here, I want to win.
Right,
And,
right.
I think, I think our kids buy into that, and they want to do well and represent Elgin the right way. But yeah, it's very similar, just different ball and different base running rules.
There you go. Talk a little bit. Obviously, you've got 2 daughters on the team, so talk about how that kind of like wearing the hat as dad or coach, and how that translates when you get home and things like that.
Well, luckily I had a head start with having a kid on the team,
right?
My oldest one, and it's a whole new learning curve having both of them. And then a lot of the time I've got one pitching and one catching, and that is a dynamic all in itself.
I would imagine those mound visits are a little bit difficult sometimes.
Yes, I know Mother watches and has some advice for us every now and then, but no, it's been a lot of fun. Stressful.
Yeah,
it's always stressful. They're all your kids.
Right.
You want them all to do well, and then when it's your own kid,
right,
it makes it a little bit even more nerve-wracking, if you will. But it's been a lot of fun, and I couldn't imagine it being any other way. They're all like sisters. In fact, Kylie, the freshman, has been like little sister, hanging around. So it's really nothing new. It's just they can legally do it now.
So obviously your daughter's committed to OSU the other day. I mean, now let's talk a little bit about her as a coach before Dad. But like I said, congratulations to you guys and your family for getting that to that point. I mean, we've talked about it on the air during football games and things like that. But talk a little bit about her as a player, but as her coach rather than just Dad.
Yeah, she does a phenomenal job for us behind the plate. She's kind of that veteran now. I mean, plays a lot of ball and has been around the game a long time. And, we have our 2 primary pitchers. One's a freshman, one's a sophomore. And she just did a great job as basically like another coach on the field, helping to be there for them and give them advice. And she takes a lot of circle meetings and goes out there and either calms them down or peps them up. And so it's been a big part of the resurgence of our pitching staff.
Yeah.
And coming back this year. So very proud of her, and she's a big part of our offense as well.
Yeah.
So.
Let's talk a little bit about the regionals. Obviously, got Midwest City and Lawton High. The winner of that you'll play. Kind of talk a little bit about what you know of those 2 teams and kind of what should our viewers expect that are going to be tuning in tomorrow.
Well, first of all, Lawton High was in our district. They ended up finishing 6th. So they're a proud team. Their pitcher is actually football coach's daughter. He's got 2 daughters on that team, in fact. But she does a good job throwing the ball. They've had their struggles. They had a coaching change right before season started, but they've had time to kind of do their thing. But Midwest City, on the other hand, comes from the other district, and they were the 3rd place finishing team.
Okay.
And they have a D1 commit in the circle, Norelli Brown, who has been phenomenal this year.
Where's she committed to?
University of Kansas City.
Okay.
But yeah, so we've got our hands full.
Yeah.
She's gonna throw low to mid 60s, a lot of spin. She's also their best hitter. Hits in 3 or 4 hole spot.
Okay.
Just a complete player, and we'll have to do a good job against her, and.
Yeah. So obviously it's a three teams. Like I said, we kind of got an automatic bye in the first round because of the way the other district was set up and didn't have enough teams or whatnot. So obviously, we play that. So it's a 3-team kind of double elimination tournament with us getting that first round bye. Am I right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So tomorrow we play at 2, and then that's it for tomorrow,
that's
right?
It
and
for
then
tomorrow.
Okay.
And then if we win, we will
4 for the championship.
Play at 4
okay.
o'clock for championship. If we drop that game, then we'll have to play at 2 versus whoever loses that first game.
And then if whoever drops that game, that winner's bracket game would potentially have to win 3 to push all the way through, right?
Correct.
Okay, 2, 4, and then potentially 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a big deal to tomorrow's game. Well, they're all big, but it's a big deal to get on the right side of that, and then it gives you a little wiggle room to something happens and you drop a game or whatever. So
and then talk a little bit about. I mean, obviously, I know coaches don't want to put the cart before the horse or anything like that. But if we were lucky enough to move on from there, what's kind of the trajectory as far as the rest of the to get to a state title potentially?
Well, it's win 3 times,
okay,
and we're in the state tournament. So,
okay,
that's kind of our goal. That's our mission. If we can be fortunate enough to get out of here and make a state tournament appearance, we will rank the 8 teams that make it, and that will seed for next Thursday.
Okay. So, and then is that when they get to the Hall of Fame stadium?
Yeah,
okay.
That'll be a Hall of Fame.
Okay, because I saw the post where it said, I can't remember what it said exactly, but it's something about the Hall of Fame and things like that. Coach, anything else to add? Kind of like I said, what's your motivating factor, and kind of what you're telling the girls the night before the game, kind of leading into it?
Well, we've done all our work. We've prepared, and we've talked about from the summer on that we're going to take one day at a time and enjoy where we're at. I feel like last year we looked, had a whole bunch of guys coming back, expected to be in the state tournament again, and we just never really were present in the moment.
Yeah.
Just too much focusing down the road. And so this summer we make sure that we enjoyed each day and got after, and they've worked extremely hard. I couldn't ask for more as a coach.
Yeah.
And so now we're ready to go and just got to go take care of business.
Awesome, man. Well, good luck. Like I said, we will have all the action live for you on the Oklahoma Sports Network starting tomorrow around 2, depending on when that first game ends. And then we'll have any other games that Elgin plays throughout that regional tournament for you on tap. So, Coach, good luck. Hope we can. Oh, there we go. No, you're fine. You're fine. But like I said, hope we can come out victors. And looking forward to calling those games for you guys. And good luck. And we'll be back after this. We're going to have a couple of the softball players as well join us. So you're watching the Elgin Owls Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Celebrating 10 years. We are the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Hey, and we're back here at Burrito Miko for the Elgin Owls Coaches Show. I want to thank Miguel and everybody here at Burrito Miko for hosting this event for us. Got some softball players. Got a big game, obviously, tomorrow. Hopefully we can pull that one off and then move into the championship round tomorrow. Thursday, we'll have all the action live here on the Oklahoma Sports Network. So I'm going to start with you over here. Go ahead and introduce yourself, kind of let everybody know who you are, what positions, and grades and all that fun stuff.
I'm Kinley Garrett. I'm our catcher, and I got 4.0.
All right, there we go. So when we get to that school question, hopefully it's not softball. So go ahead. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead again. Sorry, Kelby.
I'm Kelby. I'm our shortstop, and I have a 4.0.
Wow. Okay. So you guys are kicking the football team's butts right now as far as the student part goes.
I'm Kinsley Maples. I pitch and play third for the Elgin Lady O's, and I have a 4.0.
Wow. Okay. So 3 4.0s. Said my mom would be happy to hear that as well. Like I said, my mom was way more happy to hear the academic All-American than the playing All-American at those times. So let's talk a little bit about you. How is it? Like I said, I talked to you. Obviously, Coach is your dad, and I talked a little bit about that. I mean, how is it playing for him? And like I said, getting that. Does Coach come home, or does Dad come home? How does that work?
Definitely Coach at times. But he's coached me forever. Like my whole life, every sport I played, he's been my coach. And definitely high school has been super fun, just him being on the field with me, because I know he's right there with me at all times, and it's definitely made me the player I am today because he's coach at home also.
Right.
He'll also be dad most of the time, but coach is there too. But it's been super fun finally getting to play for him at the high school level.
Talk a little bit, too, about now. Like I said, little sister's kind of been tagging along for a while, but now she's freshman and playing on the team and things like that. We talk about the football players having some brothers on the team with Kaysen and Ritson and Jake and Jackson and those guys. So talk a little bit about kind of, like I said, playing with your sister and kind of going through this playoff push with her.
It was definitely interesting at first. You know, she's a little baby. She's the boss pretty much.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of adjusting to get along at the beginning this summer, but that's why we play those games to make sure everything's good before season starts. But now she's been our pitcher, and it's been great working with her because I get to also be coach at home now. So just getting to play with her is also super, super cool. But even though she is stubborn at times. But
Spoken like a true big sister.
Yeah.
Kelly, talk a little bit. Obviously, you know, a lot of having a great softball season. A lot of people also know you as a basketball player and things like that. Talk about kind of playing those dual sports. You got everybody out there saying, "Oh, you should specialize," and all that kind of stuff. Talk about how important it is for you to kind of have those multiple sports in the background and thing.
Yeah, I think playing both sports kind of like gives me to separate me from a softball player and a basketball player from a human, like a human being. And I think I get to be two different types of people. Like for the softball team, I'm more of like a backup leader for this one right here.
Okay.
And then on basketball, I feel like I'm more like out there, and I think going to college for both is going to be really fun because I get to meet so many new people, and I have friends on both sides. So it's honestly like playing both sports and multiple sports is like something I would suggest to a lot of players because you just get to meet and be friends and be so many different players and find out who you are as like an athlete.
All right, kids, let's ask you a few questions. Now, what position did you say you played?
I play pitcher and third.
Okay, pitcher and third. So obviously, okay. So I asked some of the football players that play both ways and things like that if they're a touchdown or a sack guy. So for you, is it a home run or a strikeout? What's your better of the two? More exciting for you, I guess is the best way to say it.
I love a good strikeout.
Okay.
Seeing when I make a girl whiff, it always makes me laugh. I try to keep a cool demeanor and act like I do it all the time, but it's always fun.
That's a great answer. All right, so we're going to ask the question that stumps every football player, and obviously 4.0s across the board here, so this is going to be a good one. We'll start with you. What's your favorite subject in school?
History.
History. All right, and you're a sophomore, is that correct? Okay, so we got you for a couple more years here, obviously, so we're looking forward to it. So we got history. All right, Kelby, what's yours?
I'm going to go pottery.
Pottery. Okay. And hey, we haven't heard that one yet, but that's a new one. Now, Kelby, are you a junior or a senior now?
I'm a senior.
Okay. Well, what's the plans for next year and things?
I committed to Cali for both sports.
Okay.
So,
congratulations. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing you play at the next level. Favorite subject? Dad's looking. Math. Okay. So the last football player said math said they'd like it because that way they can count their stats.
Oh.
So hopefully.
It's just the easiest for me.
Okay. There we go. And like I said, congrats. So obviously you're a junior, but committed to OSU, so I want to congratulate you on that. Looking forward to you girls. Obviously going to bring all the action for you live tomorrow on the Oklahoma Sports Network. So looking forward to calling your games. And good luck. And hopefully y'all can win and take it on the Hall of Fame Stadium, huh?
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
All right. Well, congratulations to you guys on the season so far. And let's hope we're back here next week, maybe talking about the big tournament next week.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So you're watching the Elgin Football Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network. We'll be back. And we're back here at Burrito Miko every Tuesday night for the Coaches Show. I want to thank all of our guests tonight, Coach Chalmer Wyatt, Jake Deal, Big T, all the softball girls, and Coach Levi Garrett. Got a big one, obviously, Friday night against Bridge Creek there at the Nest at 7 o'clock. It's pink out night, so everybody get prepared and wear that pink for, obviously, a great cause for breast cancer awareness. Obviously, we will have the game live for you in the Oklahoma Sports Network, beginning with our pregame show at 6:30 and kickoff set for 7. But also, catch us tomorrow, somewhere around 2 p.m., we will bring you all the live action from the softball complex of the girls' regional tournament. So we will have all of Elgin's games, whether or not they play 2, 3, 4. Tomorrow we will have the game at 2 o'clock, and then we'll also have any games that they play potentially on Thursday for you live on the Oklahoma Sports Network. We're really looking forward to that and giving the opportunity for those girls to shine and hopefully move on to state. So for Chris Balvance as producer, my name is Vincent Saylor. Thank you for joining us, and as always, go Owls!
Thanks for watching this presentation of the Oklahoma Sports Network.